Sure, when I come on the chat, I do my, SOP. Okay, I do my standard operating procedure, which is the SOP over here. I start from the weekly. Sometimes I go higher to the monthly time frame. Okay, so I start from the monthly time frame. I look for the trend. Right, then I come to the daily, the weekly time frame. Try to see if we have a star line. Okay, if there's no star line, I'll try to see if there is. I'll anticipate if we have any star line which is about to be created, right? And I I dive into the current market price, okay, which is a CMP. With that one, I start from the weekly as well. I don't go to the monthly time frame, okay. So you can see this is my SOP for this swing sell from here, right? SOP from this swing sell. This is what gave me the reason to hold this sell over here. Okay, so let me explain it to you guys. Right, so let me delete certain stuffs. Okay, fine now. All right, so I try to start from the weekly. Okay, so in the weekly time frame, what I want to say is, do we have any recent breakouts and other stuffs? Okay, so in the weekly time frame, you can see we have this breakout over here, right? So there's what a bearish breakout. Okay, we don't have any bullish breakout. We don't have any reason to be looking for buys. Okay, so after this, any pullback, any buys is just a pullback for sell continuation, right? Any what buys is just a sell. Sorry, it's just a pullback for a sell continuation because of what of this breakout over here. So that's one way to determine what direction. Okay, breakouts, breakout. They are very, very what important. Okay, so we have this breakout over here. Then we have what we start looking for what our entry levels, right? Look at the left hand side always. Okay, we look at our left hand side. Sorry. So let's check if we have any levels over here, right? So over here I saw that we have this level that I explained to you guys. It's more like support that got broken. Okay, now it turned into what into resistance because we have what a weekly bearish breakout, right? And this weekly bearish breakout is what is giving us the directional bias. So on weekly coming right, weekly we have a bearish breakout. You can see, so we have bearish breakout over here, right? Then other confluence that I use as well. Okay, so other ones too is what we have over here, right? Then now let's move to the daily time frame. Now on the daily time frame, you can see we have what had multiple breakouts, right? Had multiple breakouts, right? So we had multiple breakouts. So this is what also telling us that what any buys is just a pullback for sales. Okay, any buys is just what a pullback for sales, right? Okay, you can see the momentum also. You can see the momentum. You had a lot of what bearish candles, right? And it led to what breakouts. So we need what a pullback, and we can what swing traders. Okay, when you are trading gold, you don't have to be looking for trading opportunities always. Just have to be patient. Just be on the higher time frame, 4 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour daily. Like just be on these time frames. And it's going to increase your win rate. Your win rate, okay. So let's now leave the major trend. Now you're focusing on the current price market or current market price, okay. So on the daily time frame, we have what we have this rejection over here, right? We have price rejecting this weekly over here, which we can what break it down. Right now, we are going to break it down to what the daily what storyline, okay? Because we missed this. Let's assume I didn't miss this though, but let's assume I took this over here based on what the weekly, right? Based off this weekly over here. Then on the H4, we have some trend line that led to this over here. Okay, so I had this mark as my point of interest over here, right? This is my point of interest. So I think I got some trend line that gave me this. So over here, okay. So let's move back to the daily. On the daily, we have daily rejecting daily. So we can use this one, okay? Let's use this one. So daily, rejecting daily. Now we need what? We need a breakout. It can be either on what? It can be either on this same daily time frame or it's on 4 hour time frame. Right? So on 4 hour time frame, we have what? We have this breakout. Okay, you can see we have this breakout over here. 4 hour breakout. Good. So if we have a bearish breakout over here, then what do you think? Already daily is what is bearish, is rejecting the resistance, daily rejecting daily resistance. Then on H4, we have what a bearish breakout. So what do you think? Daily is now what? Daily has now turned from what? From bullish to bearish. Okay. Daily has now turned from bullish to bearish. Okay. So let's go back to daily. You can see it over here. Right? Daily what? Rejecting what? Daily. Sorry, it's over here. So we have daily rejecting daily. H4, we had a breakout, right? Then that on that day, right? On that day, after the breakout, we had what? Another daily rejecting daily again. So it's more like what? Money transferred. Okay. This is the candle that came to collect or mitigate this point of interest or resistance over here, right? And what happened? The previous day candle, right, also came up to mitigate or reject this daily what candle. Okay, so right now price has what shifted what or transferred money from this what this resistance to what this resistance now. So we are no more what interested in this candle or resistance level again. We are interested in this candle now. You understand? Yeah, so this is how what I was reading. I read this price action over here. So we had what this daily reject daily over here. We need H4 breakout. Okay, we need H4 breakout. So on H4, when I came on the chart on H4, so that was we have what this breakout already. We had this candle, this H4 candle breakout. Okay, this H4 candle breakout. And you can see this red indication over here. It's indicating that this H4 candles, actually the candle that came to mitigate this daily level, we can see. So we have what on the daily time frame, we have daily rejecting daily. If you come to the 4 hour also, we have what, and see we have this 4 hour what resistance over here. Whereas after the breakout, we had price what giving us this pullback for this entry what entry opportunity over here. Okay, so I missed this. So I sent this cell right to my chat markup, or let me say VIP group. Okay, so it took this cell somewhere here, right? Then this major cell is what I sent to you guys also. Okay, because of what? Because of the daily storyline. So right now we are in the daily storyline where we have what H4 breakouts. So we want what we can be looking for point of interest from what? From the 4 hour time frame and below. Okay, we can be looking for what? Entry opportunity from either the daily or from the 4 hour time frame and below. Okay, so on this 4 hour time frame, we had price what? Pushing all back, giving us a lot of reason. Okay, a lot of reason. Breakout are very important, right? Breaks out are very important. Okay, so we had this breakout, which price is telling us that what now it's time for pullback. And we can look for what our swing sell to the nearest what to the next daily level. Okay, so over here we have this rejection block over here. This one is fresh. Okay, so you can see it's a fresh resistance level, right? You can see price what pulling back to mitigate this level over here. Okay, pulling back to mitigate this level over here, and then it starts to drop. Okay, there's just what a basic what entry model that you can use, but we may more of what trend lines and other stuff. Okay, so we have price what mitigating this. Now let's assume that you missed this cell. Let's assume that you missed this one. You can make another entry again. Okay, now we have daily rejecting daily again. Sorry, H4 rejecting H4. Right, so you have H4 rejecting H4. So what we do, we look for H1 breakouts. Okay, and you can see we have H1 breakouts over here. So after this breakout, what do we look for? We wait for pullback, and then we can make our entry. You can see beautiful over here. Price game. Let's start to drop. So you see how simple you can just use storyline to make your entry in your direction. See how simple it is. That's so simple without even going to, you can see I'm not using this lower time frames. Okay, I'm not using them. I'm just sticking to what? Weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. Okay, so simple. All you need is what? Just the breakouts. Pull back and you take your entry. First have to know where price is coming from. Okay, and sometimes if you choose the wrong direction, if you choose wrong direction, then you'll probably be taking the opposite what storyline, okay, or the obstacles as your major storyline. In the beginning, or in our previous session, I showed you guys how do you combine trend line with this. That trend line has its own rules. Okay, I'm not teaching trend line over here. All right, so I explained to you this gaps level. We can see this where price also what came to retest before pushing up again. Okay, so that's how I got this entry over here. Then here, right, what happened? You can see we took a buy position over here. Yeah, we took this buy. Price push up, came down again. Then I took another buy entry. Yeah, this one over here. Where price started dropping, I told you guys we should close. Okay, we close it somewhere here. It's a 14 pips stop. Sorry, 14 pips. Draw down, okay. And you can see the reason why I told you guys to close it is because price, you can see this bearish candle, it's closed what? Below, right? It's closed below this level. So it's invalid, okay? The buys that we are looking for is no what longer valid for us. So price just was pull back and then it's continued the sell, okay, based on this rejection block that we have over here. I suggest if you can just backtest rejection blocks or gaps levels and see how powerful we are. Any question? And where is the point to look for more cells on the charts? Yeah, if you want to look for more cells, I'm looking at somewhere here. Yeah. When price pull back, can look for more cells. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for pullback and I'll continue the sell. That's if price if price is reversing from no man's land. Okay, if price is reversing from no man's land. But if price, excuse me guys. All right, so if let's say on this weekly level over here or time frame, price comes all the way to maybe mitigate this gap level or maybe somewhere here. Yeah, it's a nice level as well. Yeah, this level over here is it's a very nice level. 8 and 27, yeah. Then we can see price can pull all the way back to maybe another weekly somewhere here and maybe continue. Okay, maybe continue. But on weekly time frame, when price gets to this level that I've marked somewhere here, and it starts breaking some bullish, start giving us some bullish sign, and we start holding some buys. Okay, you start holding some buys. Because you can see we have breakouts over here, right? So it can be like we have a pullback for maybe a trend continuation. Understand? But if these levels break out, then price will retest this level again and keep falling. And so why 1827? Simply because you can see we have this gap level over here. You can see price reacted, okay? Price reacted, but later on failed and came back to do what? It came back to reject it again or respect it. Right? It came back to respect it. Then you can see it's closed what? It's closed bearish. Okay. So since it's closed bearish, I'll close this by this one over here. What happened? The following week, we had a bullish breakout. You can see this candle, it's broke. Sorry, it's closed bullish above this bearish bearish candle over here. Right. So this gave the confirmation of looking for another buying opportunity. Right. And what is the point of interest that we have on this weekly? We have this rejection block. That's why price came back, tested this level over here, or mitigated it, and it started to move out. Okay. So it's a nice significant level based on what this here. Yeah, I think we have some trend line also somewhere. Yeah. So on Friday, I took some sell. Let me explain. I took some sell. Yeah, this sell over here, it came from a level on the weekly time frame. Yeah. This one over here. Yeah, you can see it's coming from that level. Then when you refine it a little bit, you see it. But that's where price is coming from. Yeah, any other question? So one thing about gold is it's more like breakout, look for your entry, and you continue. Okay. A level that fails, price goes back to that level, retest it, and then continue again. And you look for how far a pullback should go before looking for a continuation, I guess, in this concept. No, no. I just write it. I just write if it's weekly entry that I have, I'll just write it. Okay, the same way that it started. I want to see the same way before I'll close it. Okay, opposite of it. So if we have weekly rejecting weekly, then I want to see another weekly level getting rejected and daily breakout and restart. Maybe price coming. You understand? That's where I can start taking some positions of. Any other question? Yeah, after backtesting camera application, just in case you don't look right. Yeah, I prefer using Saxo. Do you wait for weak breaks? No way when to look for more cells. Yeah, trend lines, they are very powerful. They are very powerful trend lines. Unless you don't know how to use it. Yeah, if you have any question, ask Mark. You have about Friday sales, you go down to the lower time horizon for 5 minutes, 15 minutes. No, I don't. Trend lines is what gave me my confirmation. Okay, so I don't go to the 5 minutes, 15 minutes to look for extra confirmations. Okay, trend lines gives me my sharp entries. Yeah, so I should draw one or two trend line. I think if you check the group, I draw some trend line. I think I had some trend line this way also. Check maybe. But if you check the group I sent, yeah, some markup over there. Yeah, Mark, you can ask a question.
All right. So quick question. This technique is it just for gold or you could use it for other
It's
pairs?
yeah, it works on other pairs, but if you're already gold is very volatile, you understand? And if you're killing it on gold, why should you just go and be cheating on gold?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, one pair is enough. When it comes to trend line, we have fresh and unfresh trend lines. Okay, we have distance, we have angles. Now, trend line is like it has rules. Okay, we don't just pull trend line from anywhere just because we want to draw a trend line. No, we have formations that we want to see. That's the logic. Okay, that's the logic. You don't just pull trend lines from anywhere. Yeah, you can know how to mark them, but it will be left with the logic behind them. Okay, that's good move. No, move on their own way. You can be buying, good can be selling. You don't have to depend on how do you call it? At first, good and EU and GU they move the same, but now gold can be selling, GU can be buying. Okay, so you just when you analyze gold, make sure you analyze GU too separately. Okay, that's good correlates with DSY. I don't check DSY. All I need is when I come on the chat, I have my checklist. When I see it, I just pull the trigger. I don't want to correlate it with anything. Okay. I want to make it simple. Very, very simple, Very simple. And when it comes to timing, let me give you guys how powerful timing is. So this silver here, I took its base of timing. You can see we have this 9 o'clock. It's a perfect timing during New York session for gold. Okay. So my trend line and my point of interest, right, got mitigated during that time. So I know that was definitely the price is going to sell more, right? So I got another sales from this level also. I got a sell from this trend line here. Let's look at it. Yeah, hello. Yeah, so you can see the trend line I pulled from the 1 hour time frame. You can see. So I got this sell by here as well, base of this trend line. That's good, Curly. Any other question? I think we have 5 minutes. So you can just Mark, ask your question. You can also type in the comment section.
Yeah. And I think it was, I've asked my question already.
All right, cool.
Let me just,
Any other question? Bro, other blogs and other stuff like for SMC, okay? I've stopped using that. Let's have some. Let's do some algo stuffs and let's see. Let's do some algo stuffs. All right, so our next session that we'll do, it will be based on the algo concept, okay? So I'll teach you guys more about that. It's also very easy to follow, right? But when it comes to, you see, the problem with the algo is the direction, okay? Sometimes if you don't know the direction, then you'll be taking the opposite trades, right? But if you know the direction, then you're good to go. All you need is what? Your AMD formations, okay? You need your AMD formations and your higher time frame, what? Point of interest, and you're good to go. Okay, so we have one formation is so we have this our Asia range or Asia section, which is this box that you see over here, right? So we have some formations that we look for when you want to take entry. Okay, so if Asia creates, let's say, liquidity, weak highs, and the direction is bearish, then we are anticipating a first run to clear the buy side liquidity, right? Buy side liquidity, then we can have a bearish day. Okay, so over here you can see, since Asia created what, a weak high simply because you can see relative equal highs over here, right? You can see we have this relative equal highs over here, liquidity. Then you can anticipate that what Asia high is weak, so we want to see a first run to the opposite direction, and a bearish day based on what this we are in a bearish trend. Okay, we are in a bearish trend, so we want to see first run to opposite direction and a bearish day. Same way over here too, you can see we have what first run to the opposite direction, bearish day. Right, so we have, I think, 5 to 7 different types of AMD formations that I use in my algo concept previously. Yeah. Another question. Want to ask question, just raise your hand and let me unmute you. And Mr. Paul, do you have any question? Yeah, I have code, so let's.
Yeah, I don't really have any question because I believe everything will still be we have to be dealt with in the main class.
Exactly.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you want to take the SNR mentorship, you can just hit me up. Yeah, to master, it depends on the hard work that you're going to put in, because with this current mentorship